Emisión.net.
Hello again and welcome to Letter from England, broadcasting for AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. A science group has responded to threats and a university ban. Following the controversial decision by León and Vigo Universities to ban a series of lectures on what Darwin didn't know from their campuses, El País newspaper has published a letter from one of the lecture organisers, Dr. Antonio Martínez. Martínez, a member of the Physicians and Surgeons for Scientific Integrity, PSSI, wrote, "As a member of the PSSI and representative in Spain for this group of doctors, I should like to make the following points, given the campaign of caricature, pressure, harassment and threats which was conducted against the universities, which had agreed we could present our point of view." Indeed, permission was rescinded for the lectures just a very short time before they were due to take place. Well, Martínez made it very clear in his letter that his group had not the slightest intention of introducing any kind of neo-fundamentalism into Spanish society. He says, of the PSSI, "It is a non-religious, anti-Darwinist association whose aim is to explain why, in the 21st century, the evolutionist explanation of the origin and development of life is not adequate. As knowledge increases about the amazing complexity of genetic codes, proteins, and their functioning tertiary structures. Chance and time, a factor that adds in disorder, not order to systems, cannot explain life in its diversity, as Darwinism claims. Questions would be expected and welcomed." That last reference, of course, is to the format that would have been used at the lecture series had it been allowed to go ahead. And Martínez reminded people, perhaps with a touch of wryness, that one of the main lecturers was to have been Geoffrey Symonds, an agnostic Jew, hardly a fundamentalist Christian. The PSSI is a non-profit organisation which challenges evolutionary presuppositions and promotes intelligent design as a more truly scientific explanation for the origins of life. The PSSI does not propose an alternative theory. Its members may hold different positions, and it simply wishes to make certain biological facts known. However, those facts seriously question evolutionist orthodoxy, and that's what seems to be at stake here. Such orthodoxy cannot be challenged. Martínez says, responding to a debate with insults, a dismissal without even hearing the arguments, and an attempt to send us to Coventry is not worthy of decent scientists, but rather reminds one of the methods of a stifling political system of the not-too-distant past. Well, the ghost of Franco might live again in the corridors of scientific orthodoxy as a wave of secularization washes over Spain. But it certainly is a tragedy that a university, of all places a forum for open debate, should ban discussion on an issue simply because a few scientists get a little hot under the collar. Are they worried that their own arguments don't actually stand up to reason? Or is it in fact not science at all, but the philosophy of evolutionism, a worldview promulgated here in England by people such as Richard Dawkins, where atheism is quite clearly a faith stance that they have taken. They're given huge scope to promulgate their views in the media, as opposed to the other views, and particularly Christian views, which are rubbished, or, as in the case of León and Vigo, as we've seen, just silenced altogether. But ultimately, people begin to question that, and people begin to wonder, well, if you have to silence the opposition, is it because you have no arguments yourselves? Well, of course, Dawkins has argued, most notably perhaps in his book, The God Delusion. Timely, therefore, is the latest response by Professor John Lennox in his book, God's Undertaker, subtitled Has Science Buried God? Well, Lennox himself is no mug. He's a reader of mathematics at Oxford University, and he gives a resounding response to Dawkins and compelling reasons why science has not, in any shape or form, buried God. And such is the lucidity and coherence of his argument that when his book was reviewed in The Guardian, newspaper, no friend of Christianity by any stretch of the imagination. The reviewer was brought to question the integrity of Professor Dawkins and his sidekick in the Oxford Chemistry Department, Professor Peter Atkins, and this is what he wrote. Indeed, atheism, when you boil it down, is little more than dogma, simple denial, a refusal to take seriously the proposition that there could be more to the universe than meets the eye. To use science to justify such dogma, as these professors do, is a gross misuse of their own trade. Well, here surely is a great opportunity for Christians, graciously but firmly, to present the God of the universe. There is indeed one who is more than meets the eye, and yet one who came to us in the person of the Lord Jesus Christ. A couple of universities may ban some lectures on intelligent design, but there's still an opportunity to get the word out about the one who created that design in the first place. Thank you for listening to Letter from England, broadcasting at emission.net. Goodbye for now.
Emisión.net